Good evening, everyone. I've got 6:01, and I have a quorum of commissioners both here and online, so I'm going to open up tonight's Conservation Commission meeting for Thursday, September 22nd, 2022, here in the Wacoit Meeting Room, Mashpee Town Hall, 16 Great Neck Road North. We are being broadcast live on local cable channel 18 and streamed live on the Town of Mashpee website. Before we begin, would you please stand and join me in a pledge of allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'm going to start tonight's meeting with public comment, and this would be for anyone that's here in attendance or online that would like to make comment to the commission for any issues not related to agenda items this evening. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Seeing none. Drew, do we have anybody online from the public? Just commission?
Is anybody on the line that is from the general public that wishes to offer public comment on any non-agenda related items? Nope.
Nobody there. Okay. Okay, then we'll move to the pre- and post-hearing agenda items. I think you had at least one there, Drew, that you wanted to cover.
Sure.
Thank you.
So the Red Brick Road culvert, still on the second stage of searching for funding opportunities for the next phase, which is planning and permitting based on the conceptual report submitted by Horsley Witten Group. And I was scheduled to attend the meeting, association meeting, and unfortunately COVID put a stop on that. So I've been communicating with the association president to let him know if there were any questions during the association meeting, let us know, and we can address any questions or concerns from the association members. And one of the ideas that I think would be probably good to have Horsley Witten attend a future meeting just to kind of present their conceptual recommendations, and then have, that would present an opportunity for association members to either attend the meeting in person or via Zoom to ask questions directly, from the consultant. So,
Okay.
so that's something I can certainly set up for a future agenda.
I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. Want to move to the first hearing?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to open up the 6 o'clock hearing for Peter H. and Catherine G. Schultzler, 111 Amos Landing Road. It's a proposed landscaping and hardscaping, including patio and retaining walls after the fact. Representative is the homeowner, I believe, and this is an RDA. Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of, please?
I'm here to represent them. They're on.
You just want to come up to the
Okay.
microphone and just
Give us your name and address, and away we go.
My name is Matthew Mado. I own Mado Landscape Construction. I perform the work on this property.
Okay. Do you have any information you would like to present to the commission?
I turned in all my paperwork to them and they submitted it all. They had to go to a wedding, which is the reason they're not here.
Now, do you just want to describe what the project was that took place, just for the commission's
Yes, sir.
benefit?
We initially started off, met with the homeowners. They wanted to clear trees that were along the left side of the property, which is very close to that 100-foot borderline. The trees were extra close to the house, and in storms, they would have came down or could have come down. So we removed those and graded it out with fill. Against the front left corner of the foundation, we added 2 4-foot retaining walls, and then put in the patio down below, and then planted grass and plantings along the left side of the wood line, as you can see in the photos. And then for the future, where you can see the fill, once they have their deck done and staircase, we were proposing to put Pennsylvania fieldstone steps, natural stone steps up to the staircase in the future, and just to mulch the sloped area that you can see is clean fill right now.
Okay. How much area is still remaining to be stabilized?
Just where where you can see the clean fill behind the patio, that would be
Photograph
the,
on the left.
yes, sir. That's the only area. I had proposed putting where the fence ends, putting natural boulders in there to hold that slope in, and then to mulch the area, and again, just put in natural stone steps up to their staircase for their new deck that has not been done yet.
Just so the commission is aware that, just to go back to this image here, this is a DEP wetlands overlay that kind of shows this is a small abandoned bog that's reverted to a freshwater wetland. So the setback, we measured, Matthew and I just took a measuring tape just to remeasure the setback, and it basically comes right out to about here, the 100-foot. So it's only a portion of the patio. The retaining wall is completely outside of jurisdiction, and then the deck, which is around the backyard, I didn't get a photo of it, it's just around the corner here, is gonna be entirely outside of jurisdiction. So basically, we're cutting the patio in half right here. This is, from this side over, is in that outer 100-foot buffer zone. And then this side here is outside of jurisdiction, so. They were not, they had been talking with the homeowners, they were under the impression they were outside the 100-foot, and it was close.
Yeah.
But, you know, measuring it off, just inside, I would say like the 85 to 100-foot setback.
And is there much of a slope to the patio? It's bluestone, correct?
It's Everblue. It's a natural porcelain paver. We dry laid it under crushed stone. There's no cement, no hard laying material. It's all natural materials that we use to lay it. Plastic edging. So,
And that's all garden area to the left side of that photograph?
yes, sir.
It's-
Any trees that, like, we saved the birch tree, we had just transplanted it over to that area. That was already any of those plants were existing, we saved, and we had just transplanted them over to the left side.
Is the fill still there after today?
It is. I waited till this meeting to do anything else, ma'am.
I meant after the storm.
Yes, ma'am.
And the grass area, is that sod that was laid in, or
Yes, sir.
it is? So does that meet our
Do
standards?
you know what the makeup of the sod is, as far as
I
grass
can
type?
find out. I don't have it. I would have to call, it was New England Turf that delivered it. I would have to ask them.
Because there are lawn standards under the regs that require, within jurisdiction, has to be no more than 10% Kentucky bluegrass. The rest has to be a rye fescue mix.
Yes, sir.
So, we just want to make sure that that's the composition.
Yes, sir. We have not fertilized it or anything else. As you were telling me, that's not a good idea, so
Right.
we stayed away from any of that. There was existing irrigation there from the previous lawn. We left that in. We haven't adjusted anything as far as that goes either.
Alex, any other questions?
As long as nothing is running off into the wetland, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Quite a distance
that's
back.
quite a distance away.
Yeah.
Okay.
There might be some after today's rainstorm, but probably
Right.
minimal. But that, yeah, it'd be good to get that stabilized sooner than later.
Marjorie or Charlie, do you have any questions for the engineer that's here?
I'm good.
Charlie?
I'm good.
Okay. I'm going to ask for questions, comments from those that are in attendance on this project. None? Any other comments, Drew?
Nope.
Okay. I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for 11 Amos Landing Road for a negative determination for the RDA.
Okay.
And just ask that you provide Drew the documentation about the grass mix,
Yes, ma'am.
the type of grass.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Charlie. Any further discussion by the commissioners? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Alex?
Yes.
Thank you. Marjorie?
Yes.
Thank you, Marjorie. Charlie?
Yes.
Thanks, and I vote yes as well. Motion carries.
Negative determination is acceptance of the proposal. It's a little counterintuitive.
It means you're good. It sounds weird, but you're good.
You
Thank
tell
you.
me, look on your face, like,
Yeah,
what
you
was
didn't want
that?
a positive determination.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and if you can, find out what the sod mix is.
Absolutely.
Species mix, and then, whenever you're ready to get that exposed soil covered over,
Okay.
sooner the better.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Now calling the 6:03 hearing for Joshua and Nicole Delman, 24 Secaucet Point Road. This is a proposed amended order of conditions 043-2618 for the extension of the previously approved pier by approximately 23 feet into deeper water, adding 4 additional piles and changing the proposed float size from a 25-foot by 6-foot float, 150 square feet, to 32 feet by 6 feet, 192 square feet. Representative, Cape and Islands Engineering, Inc. This is a AOOC. Good evening.
Good evening, Mark Dibb with Cape and Islands Engineering, representing the Delmans at 24 Secaucet Point Road. So as described in the notice, this is an amended order. There are 2 existing permits on the site, one for the house development, which is we're not here for tonight, and the second is an existing order of conditions for a proposed pier for the project. What we're proposing is, as noted, to extend the pier approximately 15 feet out and change the float size from 25 by 6 to 32 by 6, ultimately being 192 square feet. As shown on the plan, this is in Little River. The pier will be crossing an area of salt marsh and a small sliver area between the salt marsh and the upland of BVW. And the reason for the extension is to achieve a depth of around 3 feet for the type of boat that will be docked there. And we're seeking to amend the order of conditions. I did receive comments from the new harbor master and actually met with him. He did have a concern regarding that this pier does project out about 8 feet further than the 2 neighboring piers. You'll see a dimension there of about 103 feet off the page. We've also expanded the window to see that adjacent pier We do plan to revise this proposal and shorten the extended pier. We're still going to achieve the 3 feet of depth we're trying to achieve, but it'll put this pier in line with the other existing floats. I did send a revised plan to him. He hasn't had a chance to review that. We did receive a DMF letter at about 4 o'clock today, which we have also not reviewed. And we do not have comments from the shellfish constable. However, I did want to come tonight to open the project and get any initial feedback from the commission on the proposal so that we can incorporate or at least address any comments or suggestions from the commission while we work through the other items that we have to do.
Okay. Mark, I'm looking at that proposed projection of property line, and it goes right through the other float. Has there been any discussion with the adjacent property owner about that, or did they even know it was like that?
There has been no discussion with them. We're proposing to, put our float the other direction where there's more available space. But no, there hasn't been any discussion with the abutter.
They've been notified, though, in certified mail of this application?
Yes.
Alex, any questions?
Just procedurally, if we're waiting on other items, do you want us to continue it? Is that what you're looking for? Is it-
It's not a problem to continue. I'd rather get everything taken care of and,
Okay. So you just want us to discuss it, you want to be aware of anything, but
Yeah.
fully aware that we'll probably continue it just for all the other.
correct, yeah. And if any commissioners have any additional concerns, we can,
Yeah.
So the new plan will be 8 feet shorter to be in line with the other piers?
approximately, yes.
Okay. So I think once we see that, then we can vote on it or approve it. but-
And we'd want to hear from the shellfish constable.
Right.
I mean, we don't know what's down there.
Huh?
We don't know, what kind of shellfish habitat is in that
Right.
spot, or do we? Other projects?
No, unfortunately, our shellfish constable has moved on to a different position with another town. So he's left town service. But Ashley Fisher, the Director of Natural Resources, is going to go out and do an assessment.
to
She
weigh in on
she was the former shellfish constable, so
Sure.
she is.
Okay.
And make an assessment. She just hasn't had time,
Sure.
just based on the circumstances. So but she will be the one to do the assessment.
So if we continue out 2 weeks, you think? we'd
Yeah,
be
should
able to have
more
that?
than enough time for it.
Sure. Marjorie or Charlie, do you have any questions you'd like to ask?
No questions.
No, those were my 2 issues. You just covered them. Sounds good.
Okay. Any questions from those in attendance? Comments? No?
I did have just one other comment. It's just a FYI, because this is an older application in the original application. And as shown on this plan of record, just so you can see here, because the fixed pier does expand over salt marsh. It did have the original, and then on this plan, 50% composite grading to allow sunlight penetration. So just to point that out,
Right.
that was part of the original proposal, so.
Okay.
And that is something that was in the Division of Marine Fisheries letter, as far as, making sure there's proper exposure, sunlight exposure to the underlying vegetation. So that was already part of the original application.
Okay. And that's staying.
Great.
Okay. I would entertain a motion then for a continuance.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion for 24 Secaucet Point Road to continue to our next hearing on
October 13th at 6:03 PM.
October 13th at 6:03 PM.
And it's going to be at the library, just so you know, we're meeting at the library.
at the library.
Mark.
Gotcha.
FYI.
6:03.
Correct.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Charlie. Any further discussion by the commissioners? And did you say it's going to be at the library?
It is, because they're holding, this room's going to be used for election purposes. So
Okay.
it won't be held here.
We've never met in the library, have we?
We have, but you weren't. with the
Before my
commission-
time.
Before your time, yeah. They have a very nice facility
Yeah.
room there, so.
Yeah, I like it over there.
Probably read a book too while we're there. Okay, no further discussion? I'll call for a vote. Alex?
Yes.
Thank you. Marjorie?
Yes,
Thank you. Charlie?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Motion carries. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Stacy, I'm getting these back in the pockets tonight.
I know.
Getting better at it. Now calling the 6:06 hearing, Lloyd J. Stowell and Ronnie Stowell, trustees, 165 Whippoorwill Circle. Proposed construction of attached garage and driveway modifications, Representative Holmes and McGrath. This is an RDA.
Good evening again, Mark Dibb, this time with my Holmes and McGrath hat on. So tonight, we've submitted a request for determination of applicability for the stalls at 165 Whippoorwill Circle. The project includes...
I'm sorry to interrupt. Could you ask the speaker to step closer to the microphone?
Okay.
I can't hear.
Yep.
Put it right in front of me. The proposed project is a garage addition to an existing dwelling, and a small expansion to the gravel driveway. And also included in the proposal is roof drains for the new proposed garage. The reason for being here tonight is the project is completely located in a land subject to coastal storm flowage. One item that I would like to note that per your regulations, the property does have about 35% left naturally vegetated for the lot, for the 13,000 square foot lot, and your landlocked, land subject to coastal storm flowage regulation, we're required to provide 20% naturally vegetated areas, and we've provided about 35%. It's the proposed garage requires minimal grading for the property. Again, the revised gravel driveway are those two darker gravel areas, just minor adjustments to the gravel driveway for the project. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
And you said, Mark, that 35% of the lot is naturally vegetated?
Correct.
And that would be 35 post-development as well?
Correct. Yes. The garage is in a previously developed area, part of the there's mulch and existing gravel there in that area already.
Alex, any questions?
No.
Charlie, Marjorie, any questions, comments?
I've seen it.
Charlie or Marjorie, do you have any questions or comments?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll take Charlie's silence as no.
Charlie still
I've
didn't.
lost the sound on this thing, if you can hear me.
Okay.
We can-
It just went off for half of this speech that I heard.
We can hear you, Charlie. Did you hear enough of the presentation? Would you like to question or comment?
I haven't got any questions because I didn't hear half of what was being said. I can hear you now.
Okay. Questions from those people in the audience? None? Drew, any other comments you would like to make?
My only recommendation was that there just be a additional notation on the plan of the percentage of area to remain naturally vegetated, just to have it documented on the plan. It's not something that's a required information on the plan, it would just be good to have for future reference, so.
Sure.
Wait, what do you want me to ask him to put on the plan?
Oh,
Same thing.
just to label the naturally vegetated areas and the percentage to remain, just as a notation on the plan. It can either be pointing to the area or just a sidebar notation.
Okay.
And you really can't determine that from the plan itself.
Right, so it's good to have that,
Yes.
just as a point of
I
reference.
agree. Okay. No other questions, comments? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for 165 Whippoorwill Circle for a negative determination, and to issue pending the receipt of a revised plan showing the naturally vegetated areas.
Okay.
For the percentage, I mean, you are showing the naturally vegetated areas, but just to have a 35% just shown, illustrated on the plan?
Yeah, in the notes area, it says proposed area to remain naturally vegetated, 35%.
Oh, it does say that already?
Yes.
Oh, I apologize.
Last note, right above where it says
Oh,
lot
you're right.
coverage.
Oh, you're right, okay.
Yep.
Disregard then, I didn't catch that.
I'll make a new motion for 165 Whippoorwill
Okay.
Withdraw
Circle.
your original motion.
I'll withdraw my original motion. I'll make a new one for a negative determination for the RDA for 165 Whippoorwill Circle.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Marjorie. Any further discussion by the commission? There being none, I'll call for a roll call vote. Alex?
Yes.
Thank you. Marjorie?
Yes.
Charlie?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. That's why I glazed right over it. So you can see that, yeah, 35%. Okay, that's good. Glad they got that in there.
Okay, that's the end of our hearings, so I'm going to go back up to the pre and post agenda items, Upper Quashnet Restoration.
So we don't have any new information. There's still just ongoing data collection from Horsley Witten Group. And I would anticipate within the next month or so, they'll have another update for us, probably in-person attendance at our meeting, once they get to finalizing the next phase in this planning and permitting stage. The commission has chosen a direction, a specific direction on restoration. So I'll continually provide updates in that. We just don't have anything new for the purposes of this meeting. Bylaw Review Subcommittee, I will be sending out dates for the next meeting to be scheduled, as well as the Land Acquisition Subcommittee. Now that this is a lead into the next item that we'll be getting our Assistant Conservation Agent position filled. So I'll have a little more time to dedicate towards scheduling.
Excellent.
So, very excited about that. And then what is some of the
You
regulations?
sound excited.
Regulation 30 will be discussed, pollution, prevention of pollution, and Regulation 25, land subject to coastal storm flowage, among other regulations, but I'll put that all on an agenda for
Sure.
everybody to have.
Okay.
And leading into the assistant agent, conservation agent position, his name is Dan Kent. He was interviewed yesterday by the town manager, his customary second interview based on the recommendations from the initial interview, from myself, the HR director, and the assistant town hall manager. So I don't know what the start date will be, but all candidates chosen have to go through a background check and all of the protocols prior to hiring. So I would anticipate probably still another 1 or 2 weeks away from start date, and I don't know what his current employment status is, as far as when he's leaving the service of his current position. So, but I'll keep everybody updated. But it's good to finalize a candidate and get through that.
Help is on the way.
Help us on the way. So it's
That's
great.
a good feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Johns Pond and Santuit Pond, the milfoil. So everyone should have received the latest survey results for Johns Pond, which is really good news. It's been entirely eradicated of invasive milfoil. And I'm currently working with the various associations around Johns Pond to come up with public advisory signage at all private town landings and updating the signage we have at our public town landing. There's only one associated with Johns Pond off Hoopole Road. And to get really, better, more visible signage put up, just advising the public of this issue of how easy it is to transport invasive species, not just by motorboat, but by canoe and kayak as well, and the importance of making sure that your boats are washed thoroughly before you enter a new water body from a previous water body. So we'll be working on that with the associations and making sure that we just get as much coverage with that type of signage as possible, so we don't encounter another situation like this. And still working, there's a lot of issues obviously with Santuit Pond, and milfoil is just one of those issues. So still working to have a conversation with the same contractor and DNR to figure out just timing-wise when would be a good time to go in and treat the milfoil on Santuit with all the other issues on the pond. So
What was the date for the first treatment on Johns Pond? Was that in the fall?
it was in the fall. Yeah, it was early fall. It was basically the end of last September, beginning of October. So it was at the tail end of the growing season. It was just before the dormant season. And that's why it was just about as late as you want to do treatment. And that's why it didn't get 100% treated at that time, because going through the permit, waiting for DEP number and getting all that in order took most of the summer to get to that point. So, but the secondary treatment of the 4 acres that they saw with spotted treatment of milfoil, that was what was most recently done. So, and they're going to do one more follow-up survey in December, just to make absolutely sure that everything has been, yeah. And there is, the permit is, I believe it covers a period of 5 years for any pop-up of additional, whether it's milfoil or some other invasive aquatic vegetation. And we can extend that too, which I think would be a good idea, just because this issue is always an ongoing possibility. But in the meantime, it's good to get all of that public advisory out there and make it as visible as possible. So, Chopchick Bog restoration, permit level plans have been submitted by Horsley Witten, and it shows areas. I'll forward out the plans to all the commissioners so you can take a look. But this is these plans are basically almost at permit level. We're currently having discussion amongst the project partners. Myself and the Conservation Department, the in lieu fee program, and the Division of Fish and Wildlife are all, having discussion on feedback on the plans. And for the most part, I think they look almost ready to go. There's been some good conversation and feedback on achieving proper excavation depth to get to groundwater, to make sure that you've got kind of, deeper wetlands and then kind of shallow shrub, marsh type of restoration area. So it's going to be a little bit of a mosaic of wetland restoration types, but you'll get a much better idea when you see the plans, but they're not finalized yet. Hopefully they will be soon, I would imagine within the next week or so. I think everyone's submitted their comments and there's only just minor modifications and recommendations. But we're still progressing very nicely and in a timely fashion in accordance with the contract that we have between the town and the in-lieu fee program. There's a whole timetable of, expectations for receiving these updates and deliverables is the technical term for them. So we're still in line for project completion, full restoration of the Chopchick bogs to wetlands by the winter of 2023, which is exciting to see this progress really nicely and smoothly. So I'll continue to provide updates and I'll forward everybody those plans. And I'm also going to reach out to Horsley Witten to attend one of our upcoming meetings just to give a formal presentation to the commission. You guys can have some back and forth.
Great.
But yeah, exciting progress.
Public to see that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Nicely done, Drew.
Thank you.
A lot of work.
Land acquisitions, local comprehensive plan. I don't have any new updates, but the town planner has submitted some questions for me, and I'll forward them on to you all as far as specific expectations to be incorporated into the local comprehensive plan as far as land acquisition in the future. So that's something I will forward to you all to get your feedback on. But it looks like things are moving along nicely there with finalizing the LCP. Land Acquisition Subcommittee, I apologize, I still haven't gotten around to scheduling a first meeting. I think I'm going to do that after the hiring and in place of the assistant agent,
Totally fair.
just because I can't balance that much.
Yeah, definitely.
But I will be able to once we get that position in place and acclimated. And the last, second to last item here is Mashpee River Woodland. So the trail modifications, as the commission recalled a few months back, we had the New England Mountain Biking Club come in. And they were looking at doing some modifications to a section of the trail that runs through the easement that off of Mashpee River Woodlands north off Quiniquisette. So I've been having a lot of back and forth correspondence with Eversource, which owns the easement, and the gentleman that I've been corresponding with finally got out to the site to look at, the existing conditions and where we're looking to have this kind of switchback trail created and alleviate the situation where the current walking trail is severely eroded, and there's just a conflict, or you got mountain bikers and hikers using the exact same trail. So the whole purpose is to separate those out and deal with the issues of erosion and runoff that are currently happening in this area. So the latest correspondence from Eversource is that they're going to need a stamped engineered plan for these modifications, which I was very surprised to hear, but it's their easement. So my plan was to just formulate an RFP and just get some price quotes to see. It's a relatively simple, I would think, project, and wouldn't involve a lot of details, but they did say, Eversource said they want to see mitigation detail. So however the trail is routed, which is currently proposed to be a switchback trail, that there be details to show that it's not going to exacerbate runoff, or maybe there are some runoff catchments or something like that incorporated into the trail design, so that it's not going to result in the same situation that we have now with the current trail.
Could NEMBA could they pay for and get the plan done?
I haven't had that conversation with them.
I just know that they have a lot of money and they have the energy,
Sure.
I guess.
No, they definitely have that. I mean, they volunteered the labor already.
Right.
So, I don't have an issue asking them, but this could be something.
Do we have money to do something like that?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah, and I'm only thinking that it's worth pursuing through an RFP, a request for, proposals, because, as far as engineer plans go, this one wouldn't have, wouldn't need to be overly detailed like the construction of a single-family home
Right.
or anything like that. So I think given the level of detail that I would expect to see, I'm hoping that the expense will be minimal, but.
It's just showing mitigation for the most part, right?
Yeah, and surveying elevation surveys, because it is on an embankment, which is the whole reason why we're experiencing this issue.
Yeah.
So at least I can get some cost quotes, and maybe it could be something that could be split between the commission and NEMBA.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah. Last item is I had meeting minutes put into the agenda just in case they were ready for tonight's meeting and not quite there yet. So they're going to be tabled for the October 13th, 2022 meeting. I'll definitely have them done by then.
Great.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
So we'll move on to communication and correspondence. The first item is the guided Mashpee tours. Do we have a,
Yeah. So that's Renee's tours, and it goes on to the backside too.
okay. So
Yeah,
for
senior
October
binders.
of 2022, Saturday, October 1st at 9 a.m., Mashpee River Woodlands and the Cottontail Trail, and that's at 9 a.m. Saturday, October 8th, 9 a.m. at the South Cape Beach State Park. Saturday, October 15th at 9 a.m., the Natural Succession at Johns Pond Park. Saturday, October 22nd, 9 a.m., Fitch Property, Mashpee River Woodlands. And Saturday, October 29th at 9 a.m., the Conomet Neck Excursion.
That's Lowell Holly.
That goes out to Low Holly Reservation. We were just out there for the Wakeby, the splash thing for the Wakeby,
Oh, yeah.
Mashpee Pond.
Oh, that's right.
Alliance.
Yeah.
That was quite an event,
Yeah,
a lot of people.
yeah,
Beautiful spot,
yeah, it really is.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Okay. And I believe we got a request from the Mashpee Historical Commission for proposed river signage. And I have those here. I actually had a conversation with, lost them. There were, on the Mashpee River at Route 130 Main Street, and another signage placement at Great Neck North, and then the third one would be at Route 28. And then on the Charles River, there's one at Route 151 and one at Old Barnstable Road. The Quashnet River, there's signage requests for Old Barnstable Road and also Route 151. And at Red Brook, scene of the infamous culvert, that would be right at Red Brook Road. And then Santuit River at Sampson's Mill Road. And those are, I believe they're blue signs with white lettering in dual language, English and Wampanoag, right?
I believe so, yeah, I think that was the request.
That's
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
yeah,
I like the fact that they would be blue.
yeah, definitely.
It would stand out nicely.
So did they request the location of the Santuit under Route 28 as well? Or just Sampson's
The
Mill?
original request was at Route 130, and that's scratched out, and it
Okay.
just says
The
Sampson's.
Route 130,
Mill Road.
yeah. It goes under 130, then it goes under 28, right immediately adjacent to
Okay, so then there would
back-to-back
be
culverts.
2 signage requests for that.
Okay.
All right. And is that something we need to vote on or give them?
I think it would be good just to take a vote of endorsement, if you feel that, or you can just have a conversation on it, or, vote of recommendation, something like that to get
Right.
your,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, before I do, I'll ask if there's anybody in the audience that would like to question or comment on those? Okay. Then I would entertain a motion of endorsement for the request from the Historical Commission for the placement of signage at the rivers that I went through and mentioned.
Yeah, I'll make a motion of endorsement for the proposed river signage.
Thank you, Alex. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Thank you, Charlie. Any other discussion?
Just think it's great.
Then I guess we're good. Roll call vote. Alex?
Yes.
Thank you. Marjorie?
Yes.
Thank you. Charlie?
Yes.
Thanks. I vote yes as well. Motion carries. I don't know what their time frame is on that.
Yeah, I can follow up. Yeah, I'm not sure what they're,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I
Can
talked to.
can I ask a procedural question here?
Sure.
Either Paul or Drew, on items like this that are clearly popular, good things to happen, have something to do with, you know, conservation, what's with the budgetary piece? Does it go over to the board, or does it sit there, and do we get a look at it? Is there a general fund on things like this, signage?
I don't know if the
PR,
Historic
whatever.
Commission specified whether or not they were going to fund it, or they were seeking funding. I don't think that was even mentioned in the email correspondence that we had. I had assumed that this would be something the Historical Commission would fund, and they were just
Yeah.
looking for commission endorsement just based on jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just curious for future, you know, projects. It's always good. We're short everywhere around town, I think,
Yeah.
on a lot of stuff. Yeah, so.
But the
okay,
commission does have
very
funding
helpful.
available to tap into for improvements on conservation lands. You know, things like signage or trail work or, you know, whatever is needed. There is a funding source available for that.
And I have a
Cool.
follow-up question. And would our DPW install those? Would that be their?
I would think so, yeah. I think that would make the most sense, yeah. Figure out the right location and,
Right.
yeah, and do the install.
Okay. Let's see what else we have
Very
here.
cool. All right.
Okay, then I'm going to move on. I know at our last meeting, Mr. Fod was here and made a presentation for land stewardship, and he has come back tonight. There was I believe, rather than move on any type of a vote because we didn't have that specifically on the agenda, we wanted to make sure that that was in place and invite him back. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. I do have copies of, at this point, they are just documents. There's 4 of them. You can
Okay.
distribute. And this is the file itself, you can show it for the public. And I have my 4 advisory board fellows for those copies too. 1 for each. There you are.
Could you ask the witness to come a little bit closer to the mic?
Oh, he's
Again,
stepping
please,
up,
okay.
he's stepping up to the
He
mic
was just,
now.
he was distributing some documents, Marjorie, and we're going to get started here in another minute or so.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That's
Mic,
fine.
test 1, 2, 3, it's okay? It will be in the root directory of the drive.
This one?
Yes, the file, yes, thank you. And you could use the left bookmark thing to navigate if you want to. You have to show it though. Go to view and, no, on this is a PDF file. On the left, you have the ability to view the bookmarks.
So you can just click.
Go to view and check out the bookmark. I cannot,
View. Where's view?
it doesn't matter, you need much, but it's a good feature.
I think you clicked on it, that little, yep, the contents, and then you can click, I think you can just like click each one
Yeah,
as
there
we
you
go
go.
through.
Okay, okay.
Actually, the menu is not showing, so there is a way to show the menu. There you are.
Okay.
There you are. So page, I will go to the first page, which is called past to present. Yeah, you click on it, exactly. So the title is regarding the appointment and support of my support for me to become the Atequin property land steward application, I would say. I picked up this picture. It is a period picture. I say it's about 1900, somewhere between 1900 and 1950. Go down to the next one. Okay, I guess you have to scroll down to the next one. Sorry. I didn't think, yeah, go up to the beginning and scroll down to the next page. There you are. That's the next page.
Okay, got it.
This next page. This is a better view. It's in the 50s. The Atequin Hotel was burnt in the 1955, according to the records. And this is what you have. The second picture is basically the what we have right now. The picture is taken 2021. It shows the garden. It shows the empty spaces around it. That could be the green, and then the surrounding area is vegetation, etc. Now we could go to the business. Through an act that was agreed, it says an act relative to the establishment of Cape Cod Open Space Land Acquisition Program, and I highlighted the point that for the protection of public drinking water supplies, open space, and conservation land, the creation of walking, bicycling, and creation of recreational area. That's what made the Atequin property part of the what we call the taken over. That's the next page, order of taking over to become part of what's called the land bank. I have the order of taking. It's a couple of pages, but that's the text into it. And now, in 1989, there is a statement by the town which says that the town manager is responsible for the proper use of all town property, etc., including placement or whatever stuff usage of that is not destructive to the open land. And next to it, in 219, you go to 219, which is, I'm putting this picture so it goes into, yeah, the 219 here, we have the creation of the Mashpee Garden Advisory Committee, and actually it's the formally creating the community gardens. Highlighted, the purpose of this garden committee and the community garden itself is to advise and assist the town with respect to the creation, maintenance, and improvement of the Mashpee community garden, specifically, as well as various town-owned properties deemed to be suitable, which means it gives us a chance as a community garden committee to expand. At this point, none of this is happening yet. And the advisory committee is to work in conjunction, and that's why I underlined it, conjunction with town officers, agencies, and other interested organizations or individuals. And besides, there is other stipulation, but the main one is cultivate gardens for food and flowers. Now, I am working on the highlights, the garden site improvements. In this, we work closely with Mashpee Public Works and other relevant town departments, the Mashpee Historic District Commission, the Mashpee Historical, I am citing all of this because at the bottom it says, with other interested organizations and individuals, to ensure that the community garden and the, I would say, add myself, the area around it and the other garden sites are well managed and maintained for the benefit of the entire Mashpee community. And the page after it, it's nothing, it's technicality. So let's go to the land steward concept. Land steward is taken from the manual, 2018 manual. The introduction, it says the idea is a land steward program is a cooperative effort undertaken to provide a positive presence on open space lands. We could explain that, but basically it's obvious for me. And the other point is that it's a byproduct of a good stewardship program is greater public support for conservation lands. The idea is that a land steward will actually become an example to the community, will work something to have more cooperation, more understanding, more awareness of the people for the land. And here I skipped into the manual, and one of them says what the volunteer, specialized volunteer, area steward does. There is different stuff. For example, invasive species removal, beautification projects, trail maintenance, and etc. Now, the surprise is, I go to the next page, please, roll, yeah. Surprise is this is a Mashpee website. Into it, there is something called the Land Steward Sign-Up Sheet. And notice at the right, I have a Click Me. So click on the web link here. Yeah, go down, here. Yeah, you see, yeah, click on it, it should be able to get something. There you are. It asks you to allow it or something like that. No?
No.
Okay, then basically copy and paste, put it in a web page, etc. There is a reason for that. Good. Now, you see the drop-down menu, choose from the following. I would like you to go down as much until you see something that is relevant. The relevant things that you're going to see is LB3, LB4, LB5. Do you see LB5?
Yeah.
What does it say?
Atticum property.
Atticum property. The land steward sign-up sheet. I don't want to be, how can I say, too critical, but this is called truthfulness in advertisement. I mean, this is part of the Mashpee, and this is exactly what I'm to do. Sign up, land steward, attacking property. And that's my little concise word. And I'm looking, as I mentioned in my title, looking for your actual, at this point, recommendation and appointment and support. Appointment from your part and support with me going to the town manager for closing the deal. Now, a land steward will have to kind of like present a program, present reports periodically, maybe annually, and work out details of what is being done, what is being projected, etc. etc. That's my idea of a land steward. And hopefully draw people, and we have plenty of them at the level of the community garden, draw people to come and join in and volunteer and maybe become land stewards to other areas. And any questions? Hopefully you hear me still, 1, 2, 3. I didn't put you to sleep, Marjorie.
I have a question. That sounds great. I'm just curious, is this property under our jurisdiction? So I
Technically-
see that we have it there, but is that?
Right. So
like,
land bank,
mistake?
in the absence of the town manager or select board designating a town department to be the care and custody of a particular parcel that's currently classified as land bank, they're under the care and custody of the town manager and the board of selectmen,
Board
not
of
the
Selectmen.
conservation commission. So this is not, LB it stands for land bank, it's not deeded conservation land, it's a
Right.
category of open space, but it's under the care and custody of the board of selectmen.
That's what I'm
and the town
seeing on
manager.
the,
Yeah.
that's what I'm
And it's stated right
seeing on
there
the
in
deed.
in the deed,
Yeah.
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So for land bank land, the commission has no authority to delegate any sort of sub-authority to a land steward to dictate how to use that land. because it's not deeded to the Concom, and there's been no action taken by the town manager or Board of Selectmen to place the Concom as custodians of this particular parcel or any of the other LB categories that you see in that list. The reason it's up there is because it has pollinator gardens that are in need of assistance to maintain, which is something you expressed interest in. But as far as any authority to dictate use of the land outside of the footprint of those gardens, this commission has no authority whatsoever to dictate that or even deliberate over it, because it's not under their care and custody. So we'd welcome your assistance to maintain the pollinator gardens, because it's certainly needed. But that's the whole reason that parcel is listed, is because of the pollinator gardens. And the expectation for land stewards, or at least, when we came up with this program, was really because we have such an expanse of conservation lands, upwards of over 1,400 acres of deeded conservation land. And then on top of that, a lot of land bank trustees, land bank, land trust lands that really need a system of eyes and ears just because of the overall acreage and the short staff that we have to try and keep tabs on what's going on. So things like, reporting any sort of issues on the land or maintenance activities. That's really, the spirit of this whole program, is to kind of have an expanded volunteer force to help us keep tabs on these lands, not to dictate how the lands are used. That has to come from the commission, if they are so empowered to have control over the land by having it actually deeded to them by way of a land court document. And land bank is not deeded to the Conservation Commission, it's deeded to the Board of Selectmen and town managers. So they are the authorities that you would need to approach if you were to seek any sort of permission to manage any aspect of that land outside of the pollinator gardens. And even then, it's probably good practice just to get there. I mean, they're aware that we have pollinator gardens. They gave us permission to establish them several years ago. I don't think they would have any issue with you maintaining the gardens. But again, it's their call, not the commission's, for land bank property. Yeah.
I'd like to go through the process, just, if I were interested, such as he is, and I went onto this website, and let's say I checked off Johnson Road, LB4, where does that form go?
So it gets sent to us as notice that it comes to our email server. Yeah.
And then you would, because this is not something that we control, you would take that and pass it on to the town manager?
Yes, I mean, that would be the protocol. I don't believe we have any land stewards for the LB properties other than Mr. Fodd for the Attican property. All the other stewards we have currently, they're either floating to assist with whatever needs to be done on any given parcel, or assigned to deeded conservation land. So I know that town manager is already aware of Mr. Fodd's interest in the Attican property, but this would be, I think, the first LB property that we've had stewards volunteer for. Yeah.
Have you filled out the,
I will
this
proceed
online form?
tonight by filling it out, and I'm hoping you will present it to town manager, and hopefully the commission, that's why I started the process, commission will give some sort of support. Given what I am saying I want to do. I mean, it is actually, we're planting a seed here. It's funny, it's a seed. It is not a full-fledged thing, which means it has to go into nice land, it has to go and flourish and what have you. Who knows? It's potential. Yes, by tonight I will present to you the thing. I'll go through the process, putting the info and follow it through. And I will get in touch with town manager about this matter too. Tonight, via email.
Something that we would do?
I think
I'm trying
that.
to flesh out the process.
Yeah,
figure out
I
how
think
it all-
it's, I don't think it's really defined, to be honest.
Right.
I mean, like I said, the land stewardship program is really, was set up to have a system of kind of eyes and ears and volunteer assistance, but it wasn't set up to dictate how land should be managed. And I think that's a pretty clear point to make, is that land stewards don't get involved in how land is managed. They can have suggestions. We can follow up on them or not, depending on, what.
Basically a volunteer to work
Yeah.
on the land.
Yeah, they don't dictate how the land is used. That wasn't an expectation of the program. It's just to have volunteer assistance to keep tabs on things and have a system of eyes and ears and assistance, with various projects. So, in my own opinion, I don't think it's.
Interject?
Huh?
May I interject? I mentioned the manual has into it something called the do's and don'ts
Right.
of volunteers and stuff like that. Shall I repeat again what the point? The first one is interesting. Invasive species removal. The second one is beautification projects. Trail maintenance, not my business.
Right.
And debris removal.
Right.
But you could add on more. These are possible specialized volunteer. I mean, it is not like you sit down and observe and walk it, as it says here, walk it a couple of times per year for the area. This is not what I'm talking about. This place is densely being used, and the place is going to flourish because the community garden is going to plant outside of its fence, the chicken wire limits, is going to plant some stuff. And there is more area. You could notice from the picture, the green is huge. It's not to be mowed only. I mean, things have developed in a fine ecological fashion. It's an example. It's an instance. It's how you could... the reason I put in the first pictures, the Ataquin Hotel and was burnt, this land has been cleaned clear. And a garden came on 2006. And the place will have to evolve. We have to work on its restoration somewhat, terraforming, all sorts of little words. But basically, the place needs a bit of tender, loving care. A bit, not a lot. And it should set an example of what you could do in other areas, because there are other areas in the town of Mashpee that needs this attention. I don't need to go in examples, but I have actually a right 5 minutes away from my house example. So I am starting a process. As I said, it's a seed. Who knows what comes out with it on the ground? So please, I mean, possible jobs, invasive plants, there are invasive plants that need to be stopped. Very simple. They came up with themselves, took over. The place was empty, just a big building, ice boxes. They use it for booze during the Prohibition. They use it for this, for that. I mean, it is a place. It has a history, but now we need to move forward, conserve it.
It seems though there's a potential conflict, or call it whatever you will, with the Community Garden Advisory Group, and I think my suggestion would be to bring this entire matter before the Board of Selectmen at one of their meetings, because they are the controlling authority for this property, and try to hash out what the concerns are and see if it's possible for you to do some improvements on the property without running into conflict with the Community Garden Advisory Committee, if things can be worked out or discussed in front of the board that has absolute control over this parcel. That would be my recommendation. Just hash it all out and have a conversation so that you're all on the same page about what the expectations are and what would be allowed, what wouldn't interfere with current community garden operations, and just have that conversation, because this board, in my opinion, doesn't really have the authority to delegate or even recommend this, something like this. I think it's really, you have to go with the current custodians of the parcel, which is the Board of Selectmen. They have absolute control over this parcel. So they're the ones you want to speak to. They're the ones you want to make this presentation to. I mean, I know that you're signed up as a land steward, but like I said, the expectation is just relegated to the pollinator gardens. And if the Board of Selectmen has an issue with that, then, we'll listen to whatever they have to say. I thought it was just a pretty innocent, volunteer opportunity that you had expressed interest in. I didn't anticipate it was going to go beyond that for the rest of the parcel. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong what you're asking for. It's just this board doesn't have the authority to step in and say, this is okay, or we're going to recommend this. In my opinion, it's good because it's not deeded conservation land, it's land bank. And it's pretty clear in the deed that land bank is under the care and custody.
Duly noted, thank you. I am still asking for a friendly notice of support from the Conservation Commission for me becoming a land steward. A friendly letter of support. That's up to you.
Are there any properties that we have control over that you're interested in?
I have emails from the town manager twice. He mentioned to me, I want to talk with the conservation agents before I do this and that. That's why I came to you. You are the Conservation Commission. The conservation agent works for you. So basically, I need the support from you so that it tilts a balance with the town manager, who is accepting the idea, but he is a busy person. So a letter would help me out.
Well, I'm hearing we have an individual who's willing to help remove invasives and steward a property. We don't have control over it, but that's my job. I'm in the job of that outside of here, and having someone come forward and offer help to get rid of invasives, like I look for people like that constantly. So, I'm in support of you wanting to do that. So if there's a way it can be done without stepping on the toes of the community garden, if it's not in their space and you're helping clean up around it, I don't have a problem supporting that.
I would suggest that we would move forward to a joint meeting of the Conservation Department and the town manager, rather than put together a friendly letter of support, perhaps in an area where we don't have any say in. I think it would be a lot more beneficial to everyone to have a meeting with all the parties involved. What we're doing here now is we're kind of back and forth saying, this is great, we've got a person that's going to volunteer to do something.
Right.
But we're finding ourselves in a position where maybe we don't have the authority to say,
Right.
yeah, this is good. I don't know, does that make sense to you?
All we are doing is stretching it. Yes, it's an excellent idea.
Right.
Bring together the people who could decide, who could support, who could have an input, including my buddies in the back. Yes, of course, yes.
I think if we have a good idea, we should pursue it. And I think we should pursue it with a protocol that when all is said and done, somebody isn't going to say, oh, wait a minute, you did something improperly.
Right.
And that's what as chair of this commission, that's something that I want to avoid. So my suggestion would be that we come together as a joint group, be it the town manager or the Board of Selectmen, perhaps both. But before we go any further, there's people in the audience that would like to speak. I'm sure I can see one woman standing. Would you like to say something, ma'am? Come forward. And if we could have your name?
My name is Virginia Scharfenberg. I'm chairperson of the Mashpee Community Advisory Board. As the rest of the board, we are very concerned about Mohammed's proposition for all of this proposed work. We have, I won't go into details, but we've had some major issues with some of his activities with the community garden, and he was proposing that there were 4 bullets that I don't have the document with me here, but it included the community garden space, the native planting, which he cited as being blueberries, the area behind the compost bins, which, no, that wasn't it, sorry. And whatever the other one was. And as a gardener, he has intentionally ignored directives and requests we have made of him with the use of that property outside of the fence. The rhubarb garden that he established, we said that he should not be allowed to do that because it would set a precedent for 33 other gardeners to willy-nilly go out into the town-owned property and plant anything they wanted anywhere. And DPW is going to be providing the area where plant detritus will be disposed of by gardeners. That was an area that he took over individually to use for his own experimentation, and we requested many times that he stop doing that. So I think it doesn't bode well for stewardship of that property, given the lack of collaborative effort and cooperation.
Okay.
Good luck.
Anyone else who would like to speak? Well, again, my recommendation would be that we would pursue a joint meeting. I think that would be the best way to
Sure.
get resolved for the whole situation, and members of the garden committee as well. Let's bring everybody together and find out which way we go with this.
I don't, yeah, I agree. I don't think that, like, just as I don't think the commission has any authority to to authorize Mr. Fod to conduct any activities there. I don't know if the Community Garden Advisory Committee has the authority to say that he can't do any of these things outside of the garden footprint. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if any of you know the answer to that, or if that's something that ultimately needs to be decided by the landowners, which is the Board of Selectmen, or if this has been brought before them, if this has if there's been a conversation involved, maybe. But I think it would be a good starting point just to see what Mr. Fod is interested in doing. Maybe have some protocols put in place if it's something that the Board of Selectmen feel is acceptable, and they can come up with, a list of protocols to follow, so that it's not just random, or there's no oversight or anything like that. So I think the conversation needs to be centered on that, because to have, just a undefined situation, nothing's going to get settled that way. You have to bring it before the landowner and figure out, here's my idea. Is this going to interfere? Let's have an open discussion on it and see if it's doable or not.
Do you guys have a lease of the property?
No, we have.
Yeah, why don't you come up, because we have a couple of commissioners that are online.
We are a town-appointed committee to manage the community garden, and we receive Community Preservation Act funding to restore the garden that had gone into extreme disrepair. That was, the funds were granted in 2018, work was done in 2019, and expansion of 14 additional beds for a total of 34 was completed this year.
When you guys started, was there a property plan showing, or was it, I'm getting into the nitty-gritty a little bit, but was it ever okay, this committee is forming for this specific area? Or was it this is the parcel where you guys will be? Was there a language?
I have a plan here that I can get.
Because it might be that they're.
Very hard to hear.
We're trying.
If someone's speaking, the sound is not making it.
Oh,
Those of us who are
Yeah,
speaking
you don't want-
remotely.
can you hear me now?
Can you hear her now, Marjorie?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. I have a plan here which was submitted with our community preservation
Well, she-
funding proposal. It includes the fenced-in community garden, the existing shed that is on the site where community garden tools, et cetera, are stored, the area of where the compost bins are located, including that area behind it. The native plant garden that we have established adjacent to the parking lot, between the parking lot and the community garden. And so as what we consider ourselves as the Community Garden Committee as stewards of that, not a quote land steward, but we take our stewardship responsibilities very seriously. And we clean up around the area. The gardeners are involved with establishing improvements, ongoing improvements. And we clearly made the decision that it is not appropriate for a gardener to garden elsewhere besides the designated beds within the fenced area and other funded sites by the CPA, i.e. the native plant garden.
Can I ask just a quick question? If it was, if this was discussed with the Board of Selectmen and they were to allow invasive species control, is that something the Community Garden Advisory Committee would object to?
It would have to be somebody who is a licensed pesticide applicator if invasive species were going to be treated. I would personally not recommend that volunteers help with invasive removal unless it was under the auspices of somebody who knows what they're doing.
Okay.
Can I just back us up a little bit? Because I'm trying to get a handle on who the appropriate parties are. Now, you mentioned that you were appointed as a committee.
Yes,
Who was the appointing authority? Who made that
the
appointment?
select board.
The select board. Well, then, that's the
And we
party
have
that
rules and
should,
regulations.
that's the party that should be playing into. As a commission, I don't even feel comfortable having the discussion unless all of the parties that are in charge of this situation are present. I really think that, I think it's a great thing that we have somebody stepping forward that wants to volunteer their time to help in whatever capacity. But I think the discussion needs to be with everybody that is concerned with it. I wouldn't want anybody to leave here tonight saying that, well, gee, they said it was okay, or gee, no, they said you can't do that. What I'm saying is that I don't see that we have the authority to even move forward with it until we get all of the principal people at the table.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I may, that's what I was going to suggest. I think we're stuck in that wonderful place for local politics where you have extraordinarily talented lay people, experts, all willing and anxious to do something for the town. But if it's not within the purview of some management authority or some appointed authority, an elected authority, in this case sounds like it's a select board, it really conflagrates the problem between what the community garden folks would like to see happen, what volunteers who would like to be part of the whole town, and, everything that wants to be done that's a good thing gets very conflagrated if you start including 4 or 5 other agencies, boards, and commissions that don't really have the authority to oversee it. And I think it's pretty clear that the Conservation Commission has an interest and certainly has concern, but no authority. I think Drew was correct in that, about 20 minutes ago. So your original thought was, let's have a meeting. I'm not sure a meeting should be a formal meeting, but my memory is this started out with a request to the Conservation Commission to say, hey, will you endorse my recommendations? It turns out that this gentleman who seems like a really smart guy and a good citizen, there are others involved in this who don't agree, and so I don't think it's on us to interfere. I think that's what's great about local government. Hash it out at the local level. Maybe the community gardens folks have to hash it out with 4 or 5 other groups in town. I think Drew, you mentioned most of them, who have an interest, but not necessarily have the responsibility for oversight, control oversight. So, could we just, agree as a commission that we're going to ask Drew, as the agent overseeing conservation, to just do some unofficial homework on connections, and if we have to convene a meeting, it should really be an unofficial one. I think I'm very concerned about your prediction that it'll say, hey, I went to Conservation Commission last night and they endorsed me, so now I'm running for, chief cook and gardener. I don't know. I think we get into a murky area which is not our purview.
I
That's my
agree.
2 cents.
Yep. Okay.
Yes. I agree with her in a way, but we have a gray zone and something is happening in it. We need to clear it out.
Yep.
Clear out the issue actually also at the same time. They have to be clear cut what we're dealing with, point 1, point 2, point 3. If we make a jumble of everything, we'll get nowhere.
Right. Well, this is not something that we need to take a vote on.
Yeah.
I would say that I would like to have our agent contact town manager, select board, community garden committee, and Mr. Fod. And there are no other players, are there? Am I missing anybody? And I think everybody should sit down and have some type of a discussion as to where we go from here, rather than have this commission say, this is wonderful, we endorse Mr. Fod 100%, and, go start gardening. We just can't do that. Okay?
I agree.
Okay.
I think that should be the way to go. If Drew, do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yep.
Okay. then.
Okay, thank you.
I thank everyone who took the time to come to tonight's meeting. I think you're terrific citizens, and that's the way that it's done, precinct by precinct. It's great to have all these opinions in front of us, in front of the town.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I believe we have no other business before the commission this evening.
That was
And
it.
You okay with that, Julie? Good?
Yeah, just one additional item that just wanted to note that we have a recording secretary. Her name is Kathleen Quist. She's here in the audience, but I just informally invited her to the meeting tonight just so she can get the lay of the land. That's her, okay, yeah. So, I don't know if she wanted to just say
Yay,
a few
welcome,
words.
welcome.
Yeah, most welcome.
Yeah, absolutely.
It takes
That's
me
exciting.
weeks to do meeting minutes.
We're going to hold for a minute on an adjournment. Our new recording secretary is busy in a conversation. We just wanted to say hello.
Kathleen,
Kathleen?
we just wanted to just say hello and thank you for coming to the meeting to get the lay of the land and see what the meetings are all about, so,
We're happy to have you.
yeah, very happy to have you.
More help is on the way, which is always a good thing.
Can I make a motion
Yeah.
to adjourn? Is that okay? Are we still going?
We are. I don't know, Kathleen, if you wanted to just briefly introduce
I'm
yourself.
sorry.
But if you do, you just have to come up to the microphone. 'Cause it's-
We have a
You don't
couple
have
of-
to.
we
You
have a
don't have
couple of
to. It's not on
commissioners
the-
online that,
Yeah, you don't have to. I just wanted to,
we can see you, but they can't.
yeah.
I don't think.
Hi.
Hi. So, yep, I am Kathleen Quist, and I am here to be your new board secretary.
Right.
Terrific, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I'm
thank you.
happy to be here, and it's great to help you guys out.
Great.
We
And,
can use the help.
We can look at a time maybe next week to have you come into the office. I
Yes.
can just kind of review how the minutes, have been taken in the past and,
Yes.
basic
yes.
overview.
So, and I spoke to Stacy earlier, and she said you had a couple of kind of special requests that you need, so that's perfectly fine. Yeah.
Great. Great,
Yep.
excellent. Very happy to have you, so,
Well, I'm happy to be here.
huge help.
Welcome.
Thank-
Great.
Yeah,
So it's nice to meet you all. Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, I would,
And actually, I don't, so I figured out Stacy, Drew, and
Paul.
Paul.
I'm Alex.
Alex?
Alex.
Alice.
Is it here?
Oh.
Alexandra.
Alexander, Alex. Okay, great. Thank you.
And online, we have Charlie Dalton
Yep, and
and
Marjorie.
Marjorie Clabrook.
So,
There's Marjorie, I can see her
Hi.
waving from a million miles away.
I wish I were there. I'll be there 2 weeks from tonight.
okay, great.
At the
The
library,
At
library.
the
Oh, yeah, I heard that,
library.
yeah.
Oh, that's
So meeting at the
right.
library,
Yeah.
yes.
different venue for your
I like the
first meeting.
Fantastic.
You do.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Okay, I would entertain a motion for adjournment if there is one.
I'll make the motion now.
Thank you, Alex. Is there a second to that?
Oh, yeah.
I'll second that.
Oh, yeah, is a second, I think. Any discussion? You're okay with it, Charlie?
Oh, yeah, I'm okay with it.
Okay, roll call vote. Alex?
Yes.
Marjorie?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Charlie?
Yes,
Thank you. And I'm a yes as well. Meeting adjourned.
all right.
Thank